The School of Hard Knocks 26 took place at the Art Hauser Center in Prince Albert. Amateur fighters from across Canada battled it out in the Hard Knocks cage.
To the School of Hard Knocks.
Ladies and gentlemen, this School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 145-pound division and is brought to you by PA Auto Body. And now, let's meet the fighters.
So coming down to the cage now in the 145-pound weight class, Brad Lammy, who comes down to us out of Innovative Martial Arts in Winnipeg, Manitoba. 145 pounds, 31 years old, stands 5'9", and he's getting set to make his amateur debut.
The big question I always ask the fighters is, what makes you want to get into MMA, nevertheless get in a cage and want to fight? And Lammy's response was, well, it's the only sport I watch. Why wouldn't I get in that cage? Obviously a very emotional and passionate individual.
In talking to Brad earlier tonight, said he wanted to go to the ground because that's where he feels the most comfortable, but says he also likes to kick guys. And if he gets a chance to kick his opponent, he's going to do so. We've had guys talk about wanting to finish a fight with leg kicks. We've seen a fight finished with leg kicks here in Hard Knocks. So not a bad strategy for a guy who likes to kick, but is also looking forward to just getting in the cage.
Well, this is it. This is his debut fight. You gotta imagine nerves are gonna play a part, as they would with any debut fight. When you get in that cage, it's a whole new arena. You got fans cheering you, booing you, your coaches are yelling at you, giving you instructions. You gotta show your stuff. It can be a little nerve-wracking.
Well, and in talking about nerves, he said if he didn't feel nervous headed into the cage tonight, it would be, he'd think that was abnormal, that somebody should be nervous when they're heading into the cage, and as a result, he is tonight.
Well, no look of nervousness on his face right now. He's looking focused.
And on the other side, it's Brendan Mooney coming down out of LDP Martial Arts here in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, also making his amateur debut, and said that it was once he got too old to play hockey, he had to find something else to do, and martial arts was the answer.
Well, that's so typical for PA. I mean, this is hockey town in Saskatchewan. We love our hockey here. So it's not a big surprise. If you're done with hockey, you look for something else, because we are a competitive group in Prince Albert.
And moving into the MMA arena, has been training for the last 2 years, and said that he wanted to make sure his training was solid and his game was well-rounded before stepping into the cage. Because often we see guys who have only been doing this for 6 months or a couple of weeks, and they want to jump into the cage right away. On the other side, Brendan Mooney taking his time, making sure that he's ready for his opponent before he steps into the cage.
I remember the old days UFC used to watch the Royce Gracie fights. You had the wrestler, the jiu-jitsu style versus the boxer. Nowadays in MMA, you got to have a strong ground game, you have a strong striking game, otherwise you're going to be staring up at the roof, count 10.
So Brendan Mooney might have a game opponent here in Brad Lammy as they both get set to face off against one another here in our 8th fight of the night from Hard Knocks 26.
And now, the official Hard Knocks fighter introductions. In the TJ's Pizza blue corner, it's his amateur debut. He's 31 years old and stands 5 feet, 9 inches tall. He weighed in at 145 1/2 pounds, fighting out of Innovative Martial Arts from Winnipeg, please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Brett Lammy. And in the Flamin's Fitness red corner, it's his amateur debut. He's 20 years old and stands 5 feet, 7 inches tall. He weighed in at 144 pounds, fighting out of LDP Martial Arts from Prince Albert. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Brendan Mooney. This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Brett Hamlin.
Brett Hammond in charge of the action here in the Hard Knocks cage as Brad Lammy comes out of the blue corner, and out of the red corner it's Brendan Mooney in the red and white trunks. Black trunks for Lammy, as both these fighters taking an extra step or two towards the center of the cage, eager to get underway here in our 8th fight of the night.
Well, that was
Hard
interesting.
Knocks 26.
The crowd is strongly behind their hometown boy tonight, Brendan Mooney, and Lammy went to try and gain some support, but got a lot of boos in response.
Through the high kick, connected with the hand, and Lammy now on top, and a boisterous crowd response after securing the takedown there. And we'll see which of these fighters can come out on top, as it looks like trying to hold on to the arm and doing a good job of controlling Mooney to this part is Lammy.
Well, I got Mooney right now on top. They've got him up against the side of the cage. Lammy's fighting for some position here, trying to get that choke on.
Lammy now has Mooney up against the cage. Mooney thought about a single leg, but gave it up.
Both guys fighting for position again. It's this could go either way right now. They look about equal strength and equal size. And there's another throw.
A throw from Mooney. Lammy get back into it quickly and gets up against the cage, but ends up with Mooney on top. And now Mooney is starting to drop strikes onto the undefended side of Lammy.
Oh, there is no give in that cage either. You look at that, think it might be wire mesh. No, that cage is hard and tough. Hard throw down by Lammy.
Well, Lammy tries to slam, but ends up potentially in an arm-in guillotine situation. When I asked Lammy how he was going to win, he said, "I'm going to drop him on his head and go home." And he tried to do that there, but he ends up with his head in an arm-in guillotine choke here. And we'll see if he can pop his head out, and he does. Lammy now on top with 1.5 minutes to go on our feature fight clock.
Well, you got to be so careful. You rush in there like that. You may throw some pretty impressive throws, but you got to be careful. The other guy is not waiting for his opportunity, because it could take a split second. The fight could be over.
Mooney pops up. Lammy now in control, though, in the center of the cage with an arm under the head and under the neck of Brendan Mooney.
Both fighters here are showing their technical skills here. We're seeing more of a grappling contest than we are a striking fight at this point.
Both these fighters have more than 2 years training in the octagon before getting into the cage for the very first time.
And that training is showing off right now. They both guys looking ready and wanting to fight. I mean, they can't stay off each other.
Big uppercut there, and another one, and another getting through for Mooney. He's throwing bombs up against the side of the cage. A big knee follows. Lammy covering up, the referee right on top of it. Mooney is unloading on Lammy up against the cage.
It's World War IV in there right now. This is ridiculous.
And the fight is over. We have a winner in Brendan Mooney due to unanswered blows up against the cage as he gets his first win of his MMA career.
I think they found those weapons of mass destruction. Brendan Mooney's throws right there. Hard punches, wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to throw a shout out to Canadian Digital, Hard Knocks official digital media specialist. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by PA Auto Body. At 2 minutes, 43 seconds in the very first round, the winner by TKO due to strikes in the red corner, Brendan Mooney.
Brendan, we'll get you out here. It seemed like it was going pretty well back and forth between the two of you as you exchanged strikes, a little bit of rolling on the ground, some nice transition work, both of you showing your skill in the cage. But once you got him up against the cage, you just started firing bombs and there was no answer.
I don't know what to do. I ate a kick right away, got my lip. It's all right.
Now walk us through the finish here up against it. Taking a look up there as you throw right behind the cameraman there. The big knee coming, and after that there was nothing more.
I don't know what to say.
He's got a big right hand, but he's not much for interviews. I'm sure though you got sponsors and coaches to thank.
I'd like to thank my coach, Lucian, my corner, Caleb, Dave, my family, my friends. It was an awesome night.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for your winner, Brendan Mooney.
To find out more about Hard Knocks Fighting and upcoming Hard Knocks events, please visit hardknocksfighting.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 135-pound division and is brought to you by JRMCC. And now, let's meet the fighters.
Coming down to the cage is, I believe this is Tyrone Halkett coming down to the cage. From La Ronge, Saskatchewan, the independent fighter weighing 135 pounds, says he moved from fan to fighter, and while he's primarily a boxer, he's working on other aspects of his game as well.
What I like too is that he's dedicating himself to the sport. He says he trains 5 days a week. He trains hard. He likes to get the cage. He says he wants to get in there and show what he's got.
Has one win on his record, a second round TKO victory in his debut. But after finishing his last opponent by strikes, he figures he'll be looking to finish this opponent by submission. He wants to show off all aspects of his game, and we'll see whether or not Brad Campbell can answer that. But we did see his brother Chad fight earlier in the night and was unsuccessful after that big slam from Luke Benoit, and Tyrone Halkett coming into the cage. Now just getting the final looks here from the official as he wants to head into the cage and get set to fight his second fight as an MMA fighter. Again, another young fighter coming into the cage here. His opponent, Brad Campbell, coming down to the cage now out of LDP Martial Arts here in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. At 135 pounds, we know Brad Campbell, like the other LDP fighters, will be looking to continue that streak. The first time we've had this gym in Hard Knocks, but already they're up 2-0.
And his coach Lucian Phillips right behind him. LDP Martial Arts, strong fighting school out of PA. We've had 4 fighters fighting for them here tonight, and all of them are doing well. It should be an interesting fight ahead of us.
So as Brad Campbell makes his way down to the cage again, what we've seen from the LDP fighters so far tonight, heavy striking, a varied striking attack, not just throwing punches, but also working on the ground as well, and really trying to get in there and establish themselves as a gym of note here in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how these two guys match up then. We got two strikers maybe going into that ring together. And so far it's been wrestler versus wrestler, or wrestler versus boxer, but now we got two strikers again. Two young guys, nothing to lose. This could go either way again.
And again, as amateurs, they do, like you mentioned, have nothing to lose, and we'll see whether or not Brad Campbell comes in with that attitude as he wants to get set for a long MMA career as well.
And the thing too, with the younger guys, you get to see some of the throws. You can look forward to these, as we saw with Chad Campbell earlier tonight. That was one heavy throw, and when you got some of these younger guys in there, the lighter weights, you get to see some of that more extraordinary throws and technical stuff.
Well, and as we continually talk about here in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship too, it's not just whether or not they're winning tonight and what it means for them tonight. We have had Ronda Rousey. She fought in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship last year, went on, and her second fight after that was a Strikeforce title fight, and she's currently the Strikeforce Women's Champion in her weight class. And so it's not that far removed for these fighters to think about being in the big leagues.
No, and the big thing is, again, getting that ring that cage the first time, get your experience, because this is where it counts.
And now, the official Hard Knocks Fighter introductions. In the TJ's Pizza blue corner, he's 1-0 as an amateur, 17 years old, and stands 5 feet, 8 inches tall. He weighed in at 129 pounds, fighting as an independent from La Ronge. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Tyrone Halkin! And in the Fireman's Fitness red corner, it's his amateur debut. He's 19 years old and stands 5 feet, 10 inches tall. He weighed in at 135 pounds, fighting out of LDP Martial Arts from Prince Albert. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Brad Good Campbell. This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Elvis Lyon.
Elvis Lyon in charge of the center of the cage. So for clarification, Tyrone Halkett comes out to Kung Fu Fighting, and it's Brad Good Campbell. Both fighters showing a sense of humor here in the early going of their career, and we'll see if Campbell is indeed good as he faces off against Tyrone Halkett.
Well, 17 years old. I mean, can you imagine what you were doing when you were 17 years old? It wasn't getting in a cage, I'll tell you that much.
No, it was a much more lethargic activity. As Campbell now has Halkett and might even have the neck here if he thought to stop and try and choke him out. And maybe heard me there as he tries to choke. A nice knee there to the midsection.
And some early jiu-jitsu, this is nice to see this, some of this technical part playing right in right at the beginning. Both fighters seem to have a strong jiu-jitsu. Oh, there's a tap right away.
Campbell does get the tap victory as he takes down Tyrone Halkett.
As he shrugs.
A guillotine and a shrug for Brad Campbell, saying, well, it was there, coach, I had to take it. And we've got a winner in Brad Campbell.
I don't know what he's shrugging about. I mean, the fight's done, you won, buddy.
He just seems a little surprised that it's over.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by JRMCC. At 41 seconds in the very first round, referee Elvis Lyon stopped this out. The winner by tap out due to guillotine in the red corner, Brad Good Campbell.
So you get the win in your very first fight. You come down and you looked surprised and confused when the referee stopped the fight. Did you want it to keep going, or why the confusion?
I wanted to stand up and keep striking. I didn't want to go to the ground.
So at this point now, the fight's over, and you didn't get to do what you wanted, didn't take much damage. I imagine we're going to see you back in a Hard Knocks cage pretty quick.
Yeah.
The happy smile. Walk us through the finish here on the big screen.
Well, there I am holding his neck, and I'm squeezing, and then the referee stops me.
A very accurate description of what went on there. But again, popped up with a shrug, surprised the fight was over. I'm sure you got coaches and sponsors you want to thank.
Oh yeah, I want to thank Lucien, buddy, I'm sorry man, I can't even think right now. Caleb, Luke, I want to thank my mom, I want to thank Dave, I want to thank all the guys down at LDP, and I want to thank myself.
Thanking himself. Let's hear it one more time for your winner, Brad Good Campbell.
To find out more about Hard Knocks Fighting and upcoming Hard Knocks events, please visit hardknocksfighting.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 185-pound division and is brought to you by Epic Tattoos and Piercings. And now, let's meet the fighters.
Now coming down to the cage is Cody Bowman, an independent fighter out of Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, 2-2 as an amateur, weighed in at 185 pounds. And it's very interesting to me, not only the story behind this fighter, but Cody Bowman booked this fight after the weigh-ins last night.
Well, Cody has an amazing story. It was his cousin that was the fighter, not him. And when his cousin lost an arm in an accident, Cody stepped up, and now he fights for his cousin, he fights for his family. His goal, he says, is to win the belt in his weight class, and he's got a lot of support behind him tonight.
Well, and like I mentioned, ended up getting this fight last night, was not on the fight card at all, took the fight late, and a very grateful opponent in Thomas Richardson, because Richardson's original fight was scrapped due to an injury issue very late, and Bowman agreed to the fight at the weigh-ins last night, was there supporting some other fighters, agreed to fight tonight, had everything current, and is now getting in the cage. And it's going to be interesting when we see all these guys come in, and they come in with that big training camp, the 3 or 4 weeks. Now we've got a guy with 24 hours notice stepping into the cage. It'll be interesting to see how he does.
How do you handle the focus? I mean, how do you train your mind to get ready for that fight the next day?
Well, we'll see how he handles Thomas Richardson. They call him the tugboat out of WAMA, the Winnipeg Academy of Mixed Martial Arts. And again, WAMA undefeated here in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship. And that included Thomas Richardson's first win a few months ago.
Well, I think we've seen so far why WAMA has such a strong record. Their fighters are very impressive. They've got strong games, both striking and on the ground. And I'm pretty sure Thomas will boast the same skills.
Thomas Richardson comes into the cage, said he couldn't really find any info on Cody Bowman, and so as a result, he doesn't really know what to expect from his opponent, but says that he's going to just keep going at it and keep trying to solidify his game plan and get the finish.
And Thomas first to admit, though, he doesn't have crushing power. He says he's not a big guy, but it's at what he calls the anaconda strength, which I'm waiting to see tonight.
Yeah, we'll see exactly what that means. The coach describing him as anaconda strength, said he'll just keep crushing you as long as you keep coming forward. He'll keep getting it done against you, and we'll see what he's able to bring to the cage tonight as he steps in. The other kind of running joke I have with the Whamma boys, of course, the beard on Richardson's face tonight. Being told that's kind of the best he can grow, and the Whamma boys well known for the beards in their gym, including David Redbeard Swanson, a fixture here in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship.
And now, the official Hard Knocks Fighter introductions. In the TJ's Pizza blue corner, he's 2-3 as an amateur, 19 years old, and stands 6 feet, 3 inches tall. He weighed in at 185 pounds, fighting out of LDP MMA from Prince Albert. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Cody Bowman. And in the Flamin's Fitness red corner, he's 1-0 as an amateur, 17 years old, and stands 6 feet tall. He weighed in at 177.5 pounds, fighting out of Winnipeg Academy of MMA. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Thomas Tugboat Richardson. This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Brett Hamlin.
Brett Hamlin in charge of the action here as we get set for fight number 9 of 13, 10 of 13, my mistake, as both these fighters get set. And again, Thomas Richardson's original opponent changing 24 hours ago. Cody Bowman not even on the card until 24 hours ago. We will see how both of these fighters handle this situation as we get set for our fight at 185 pounds. The fighters touch gloves in the middle, and immediately a kick thrown by Cody Bowman.
Well, normally fighters too, they have months to prepare for each other and what kind of areas to work on. These two guys, unknown to each other, walking into the cage against each other.
A takedown attempt there, holding the head, kind of both fighters going down, but it's winding up on the back of Cody Bowman is Thomas Richardson. He's now trying to pull his head free. Bowman's got him in a pretty tight headlock, but his arms are behind his back at this point and around his own waist. Not the best position to be in if you're Cody Bowman with a guy on your back, and the opportunity now that he's got his head out to throw bombs from this position, and just needs to avoid the back of the head as we saw from earlier tonight.
He is not in a good spot right now. He's got to get out of here and turn this around, because right now Tugboat is having his way.
In the full mount, had the body scissors, gave that up, and they're up against the fence now. Referee right on top of the action as more punches landing, big ones coming from the fists of Thomas Richardson, who's exhibiting that anaconda strength, squeezing with the body scissors before dropping out those fists. And Cody Bowman is just covering up. I mean, at this point, intelligently defending, but not doing much in the way of defense.
Well, look at the grip, and Richardson's got strong legs, and he's got them wrapped tightly around Bowman's midsection right now.
Trying to stretch out the arm, and now there's no defense to those fists hitting the front of the face. There's the tap. This fight is over. Cody Bowman gets worked over by Thomas the Tugboat Richardson, and I want to put out there a thank you to Cody Bowman for taking this fight on such short notice and being willing to step in there against a guy like Thomas Richardson, who has a very bright future ahead of him.
Well, that's it. And Bowman, he's fighting such a great cause and has such a great story. Step up in the last minute for a fight like this. Here he is. I mean, you got to give him his applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hard Knocks would like to give a big shout out to Epic Tattoos and Piercings for having their sponsor booth with us this evening. Thank you, Epic Tattoos and Piercings. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by Epic Tattoos and Piercings. At 1 minute and 37 seconds in the very first round, referee Brett Hamlin stops this bout. The winner by tap out due to strikes in the red corner, Thomas Tugboat Richardson.
Thomas, you come out this way. We'll get you there. You come out tonight and your opponent changed with just 24 hours notice. You find out you're fighting Cody, and you come out and you pretty much do a number on him with strikes.
Yeah, I know it's something I'm working on, taking it down, working my ground and pound, and worked out well.
Now, if you can throw up the replay here on the big board, once you got on top of him, threw on the body scissor, you just pretty much rode him to a finish.
Yeah, I just didn't, I didn't want to rush it. I wanted to make sure I was actually getting good shots in there, so took it slow and kept finding my spots.
Now, the Whamma boys are well known in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship for growing beards. So far, this is the best you can do?
That's all I got right now. First shot at going to beard, so we'll see. Hopefully next time it's a little bigger.
All right. I'm sure you got coaches and sponsors to thank.
Yeah, for sure. I want to thank my jiu-jitsu coach, Curtis Brigham, striking coach, Eric Brez, all the guys I train with. Whamma.ca, check it out. That's all I got.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for your winner, Thomas Richardson.
To find out more about Hard Knocks Fighting and upcoming Hard Knocks events, please visit hardknocksfighting.com.
This school of Hard Knocks Fight is an amateur bout at a catch weight of 190 pounds and is brought to you by Chasing the Dragon Rig Gear. And now, let's meet the fighters.
First one down in our 11th fight of the night, Randall Martel, coming to us from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan at 185 pounds, 2-3 as an amateur here in his amateur career as he gets set to try and get that record back to 500, but he'll have his hands full with Evander Masaskopic.
Well, Randall says he's been working really hard in the sprawl. We'll have to be watching for that tonight.
Yeah, he's been fighting since 2009 and figures he wants to go down to the ground, and an interesting reason why he got into MMA in the first place.
Well, yeah, when he was a kid, I guess he got picked on a lot, he and his family, and so what he wanted to do was get to the point where he can defend himself and his parents. His mom actually, who he fights for as well, and I'm pretty sure MMA is a good place to start.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to pick on his mom, that's for sure, as Randall Martel comes in and spends his time when he's not training out in the oil patch, getting some work done out there, and that's not an easy way to make a living either.
I think he told me too, it's really hard to get it trained when you're an oil field worker as well. You got to find the time, and he said he loves to fight. He said he loves the cage, he loves his sport, and that's what brought him here tonight.
So we'll see what Randall Martel is able to do as he gets set to enter the cage again. 2-3 for the 185-pound fighter, and watching boxing, I guess the first thing that got him into the gym in order to live up to that teasing reputation.
We had some friends, he told me also, who said, you know, once he went to a boxing competition, entered that, loved it. Some friends suggested he should try MMA. He got into that, started training in North Battleford actually, and hasn't stopped.
And we'll see what his opponent can do. Evander Masaskopic coming down to the cage now out of Champion Fight Club in Saskatoon, I believe is also where he is out of. 3-1-1, his last fight a KO victory here in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship.
And he's got a little more experience as well. He's been training for 4 years. Again, a friend got him into the gym, and since then he's been hooked on MMA and the sport. He's very passionate, loves to stand up. Look for some strong strikes coming from Evander tonight.
He was a boxer before moving into MMA and said looking for the knockout, but unlike a lot of guys who are just looking for that standing knockout, wants to take him down first and then work the ground and pound into a knockout, and has been focusing on that in this training camp.
Well, he won his last fight by KO, and so he's coming off a pretty strong finish, and see if he can repeat tonight.
In watching tape of Martel, he says that he feels like he has the advantage when the fight is on its feet, but it's always interesting to see where guys go, and And once you actually get into the cage, what kind of difference that can make as Evander Massaskapou gets the final kind of wash down from his coaches, and a couple words of correction there from the official, who will look over Evander before sending him into the cage. Named after Evander, the real deal Holyfield.
No kidding.
And Massaskapou gets ready to try and improve his record, already a solid one as an amateur at 3-1-1.
Well, you can talk all the trash you want outside the cage, but once you step foot in there, it's time to pray, take your vitamins, and you got to give it all you got.
And now, the official Hard Knocks fighter introductions. In the TJ's Pizza blue corner, he's 2-3 as an amateur, 26 years old, and stands 6 feet tall. He weighed in at 189 pounds, fighting as an independent from North Battleford. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Ravishing Randall Martel! And in the Flamens Fitness red corner, he's 3-1-1 as an amateur, 21 years old, and stands 5 feet 9 inches tall. He weighed in at 185.5 pounds, fighting out of Championship Fight Club from Saskatoon. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Evander the Real Deal Massaskapou! This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Elvis Lyon.
Elvis Lyon in charge of our third final fight of the evening. Just our co-main events left to go as Evander Massaskapou comes out in the black Hayabusa trunks, the black and gold with red trim Muay Thai trunks for Randall Martel, as both these fighters get set, and a little bit of dancing there at the beginning as they get ready to set each other up. But now coming in quickly and throwing strikes is Massaskapou. Martel is tapping. This fight is over in a hurry.
I barely breathed. I had time to blink once, I think.
I didn't even let you get in on that fight. That one was over so quickly.
It's a shame it ends like that. It seemed that Massaskapou, wow. What can you say? I mean, it was over so quick. There was hardly a highlight.
What I can say is that I hope the judges return their paychecks tonight. Not a single third round and only one in the second round, as he just dominates this performance.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision, brought to you by Chasing the Dragon Rig Gear. At 13 seconds in the very first round, the winner by knockout in the red corner, Evander the Real Deal Massaskapou!
Evander, 13 seconds in round number 1. What took you so long?
I don't even know what to say right now. Feels really good.
You told me before the fight you wanted to get a takedown and get the win, and we'll show pretty much the whole fight here in the replay on the big screen in the back. Talk us through the finish.
Well, first thing I didn't want him to do is any leg kicks, so I made sure I came in attack. And so, yeah, I made sure that I hit him pretty hard too.
They named you after Holyfield, proving you got the heavy hands to back that name up.
Yeah, I was born when Holyfield won the title. So, yeah, I want to live for the name now.
And I'm sure you got coaches to thank in your corner?
Yeah, my brother and Cole and Cody. His birthday today. My cut man. Happy birthday, Cody Benjamin. Love you, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for your winner, Evander Massaskapou.
more about Hard Knocks Fighting and upcoming Hard Knocks events, please visit hardknocksfighting.com.
This school of Hard Knocks Fight is an amateur bout in the 205-pound division and is brought to you by JRMCC. And now, let's meet the fighters.
Coming down to the cage first tonight in our main event of the evening, out of the blue corner, Elias Cepeda coming down to the cage out of Team Dino Castellas in Chicago, Illinois. 1-0 as a fighter so far in his MMA career with a TKO stoppage in round number 1.
Well, when you hear Chicago, you're obviously thinking brawler right off the beginning. Maybe it's the Rocky movies, I don't know. But yeah, that's his main focus. He said he's primarily a striker, willing to go to the ground though if need be. He's paid attention to the tape, done his homework, and hoping to get a victory over the big guy tonight.
Well, Elias is a guy that does an excellent job of analyzing MMA, and you know that because you may have read his work on UFC.com, on YahooSports.com. He covers mixed martial arts for those organizations, and so has to break down film, has to get in and really work and look at the inner workings of mixed martial arts, and does so professionally.
Get ready for the introduction on this one.
Now the heavyweight champion of the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship, and you can see his teammates holding up the belt there, fighting out of Prestige Worldwide in his garage in his hometown of La Ronge, Saskatchewan, running his own gym out there, the heavy hands of Devin, Mr. Boot Truck Smith.
And heavy is right. I mean, he's won fights in a blink of an eye. He can take you, had better not blink if you're fighting this guy because you'll end up on your back counting stars.
The record holder for the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship, fastest knockout, took out Wade Baldwin in 8 seconds in Hard Knocks in Estevan. Really an anti-hero in Estevan as he took out all 3 of their hometown heavyweights in Derek Daku, Wade Baldwin, and Felix Jimenez on his way to the heavyweight title. Fighting light heavyweight tonight, though, where he feels like he belongs. He was offered the heavyweight fights by Hard Knocks, he took them, but he feels like he belongs in light heavyweight and is looking to continue his run here in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship against Elias Cepeda.
And you gotta respect that too, Devin Smith. I mean, you give him the fight, he takes him. He could turn away, he could say, no, I'm not ready, but no, he steps up to the plate.
He said it'll be interesting tonight because he's not used to having an opponent who equals his reach. Devin's got longer arms for a man of his height, and Elias has arms about the same length tonight. He's used to fighting guys that he can stay outside and do his damage from there, but tonight that advantage is for naught as he looks to get in and fight his first fight here in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship at 205.
And he's got a nice strong ovation from the crowd as well, except from La Ronge, but they're cheering the Saskatchewan town.
And now, the official Hard Knocks Fighter introductions. In the TJ's Pizza blue corner, he's 1-0 as an amateur, 28 years old, and stands 6 feet, 2 inches tall. He weighed in at 200 pounds, fighting out of Team Dino Castellas from Chicago, Illinois. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Elias Cepeda. And in the Flamins Fitness red corner, he's 4-1 as an amateur, 23 years old, and stands 6 feet, 3 inches tall. He weighed in at 203.5 pounds, representing Prestige Worldwide from La Ronge, Saskatchewan. Please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Devin, Mr. Boom Truck Smith. This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Elvis Lyons.
Elvis Lyon.
I want a good, clean, hard fight. Give it everything.
Both of these guys incredibly friendly for professional fighters, and had a good long conversation with them both. Speaking of the conversation, look for that MMA podcast coming from Elias Cepeda in the near future as we get set for our main event of the evening. And coming in quickly with a left, and Cepeda comes in wanting no part of the distance striking of Devin Smith.
Well, these guys have so much respect for one another. They're going in that cage. I mean, they're throwing hard punches, but end of the day, these guys have nothing but respect. And right now we see Devin Smith on top. He's using some of those ground punches, and Elias is coming up pretty fast.
Elias spins away from the punches of Devin Smith. Devin now looking likely for a submission here. Was able to win the heavyweight title via guillotine choke over Derek Daku, and now is looking for a rear naked choke, but Cepeda spins away and does a good job of getting out.
Devin Smith, so calm and casual in that ring right now. He's in control, trying to get that choke on. Oh, he's turned it around. Now throwing some of those punches. Those punches are like hard rocks.
Spun Cepeda's head on one of them, and Devin Smith just swarming Cepeda at this point, trying to get the TKO victory, and that is it. Devin Smith wins his first fight at 205. The champ is here, and he gets the job done.
Oh, a strong showing from Devin Smith tonight. Not once did he look flustered, panicked. He was calm. He had a game plan when he walked in the cage, and he put it to work.
And I can guarantee you that these two will be having a beer at the bar later, the after party at Original Joe's tonight, as both these guys, again, among the more friendly, although it certainly doesn't look like it here, as Devin Smith lays the boots down and gets the victory.
It's so impressive what Devin Smith is showing tonight. I mean, we'll watch the tape, and it just, from the ground to switching back to the punches, it was amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by JRMCC. At 1 minute and 12 seconds in the very first round, the winner by TKO due to strikes in the red corner, Devin Mr. Boom Truck Smith!
Well, Devin, this is starting to become a habit. I see you come down to the cage, and about a minute and a half later, we're talking about another win. Moved down from heavyweight to 205. What's next for the champ?
I'm hoping that I get the next belt, light heavyweight belt. I want them both. I'm going to get them both.
So if you're successful in getting the light heavyweight, do you just start moving down until you've got one of them all?
After this weight cut, I think light heavyweight, that's it. Nothing else.
All right, talk to us a little about Prestige Worldwide and all the guys you got here cheering you on.
Prestige Worldwide is where I train in L'Orange. It's pretty scientific stuff we do there. These boys I train with, they help me every day, push me to keep doing more and more and bringing the best out of me every single time.
Now, you were looking to get an avenge on your only loss on your record tonight. Barrett Thompson unable to compete. Are we going to get to see you? Is that the fight you're looking for next?
Yeah, that's the fight I want to have next in the light heavyweight division. I hope his injury heals up, he's healthy, and we'll do it up when he's ready.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it one more time for your Hard Knocks heavyweight champ and your main event winner, Mr. Boom Truck, Devin Smith.